welcome to Toastmaster Outreach. My name is Paul Jubb, and I am your host for this evening's show. This show is going to be somewhat different than our regular shows. As you know, Toastmaster Outreach always showcases a Toastmaster club within the district. The show you are watching now is a bit different because it's not a club being showcased, but an organization on a mission to accomplish something which will benefit Sacramento community. Our guests for this evening's show are members of the Sacramento Tall Club and the Sacramento Zoo. You may not have heard of this club, but you are in for a pleasant surprise to learn of the club's and its accomplishments and goals. So please join me in welcoming Harry Lehman. Harry?
Thank you. Thank you very much, Paul. My name is Harry Lehman. I want to welcome you tonight, and I would like to introduce two guests from the Sacramento Zoo. We have Melissa McCartney and Rachel Winkler, and they take care of the hoof stock at the Sacramento Zoo. Let me tell you a little bit about the Sacramento Tall Club. The Sacramento Tall Club is a social club for tall men and women, men 6'2" and over, and women 5'10" and over. The club is comprised primarily of single people, but married people and couples are very welcome to attend. The Sacramento Club was established in 1982, and we have typically about 100 members any given year. The Sacramento Club is also a member of Tall Clubs International. And Tall Clubs International was started in 1947 by a lady in Los Angeles area named Kay Sumner Einfeld. And the club that she started, the LA Tip Toppers, is still in existence today. And you can find those people in the Los Angeles area, and they have a little bit different height requirements, but we all get together very nicely. The Sacramento Tall Club can be reached at our hotline number of 967-HOW-TALL. You got that? 967-HOW-TALL. And we're also on Facebook. We have a meetup site, and we also have a website where you can find links to the program that we're going to talk about a little tonight. One of the things that the Sacramento Tall Club does is we help sponsor one of the giraffes at the Sacramento Zoo. And here is a representation of Goody, who is the current subject of the conversation tonight. Goody is how old?
She's coming up on her 19th birthday this year.
19th birthday, and she's how tall?
She's just under 14 feet tall.
A little under 14 feet tall. This is a representative. And Goody has a unique problem, is that she has arthritis and a deformed joint. And what the zoo is doing is fitting her with special shoes and special treatments to get her to become part of the herd and socialize much more. So the Sacramento Tall Club has done several things. One thing, we are going to many veterinary offices in the greater Sacramento area, about 125, and we have little donation canisters as well as flyers and business cards for people who are interested in the Sacramento Tall Club. You can donate to Goody by cash in the donation jar. You could also write a check and seal it in a nice envelope for your privacy. Or you can go to our website, the Sacramento Tall Club. That website is sacramentotallclub.org. And there is a link there to a GoFundMe site for Goody. And so you could donate via credit card or any method that is available to you. And then the Sacramento Zoological Society is a 501c3, so your donation would be totally tax deductible, which is a very important thing these days. So I would like to turn this over to Melissa, who is the lead in the hoof stock, and her partner, Rachel, and they're going to tell you all about the program that they're doing at the Sacramento Zoo to keep Goody in good spirits.
I want to thank you very much, first of all, for inviting us to be on. And we don't actually fit into the Tall Club, but we are here as an honorary member of the entourage for Goody. So thank you very much for having us this evening. Goody's case is not particularly unique to giraffes. Arthritis is something that can actually affect a lot of giraffes. You think of a very heavy-bodied animal. They're big, they stand a lot, they're kind of hard on their joints. But Goody herself, actually, she was born with some congenital issues. So the way she walks and the way, if you even like just look at her, the way her hips, or the way she carries herself, she always walked just a little bit differently than what you would expect from a giraffe. And because they are a hoofed animal, she would wear her hooves unevenly. So if you think about, as a person, if you don't walk in the way we typically think of a person walking, you can wear the soles of your shoes a bit unevenly, and she was wearing her hooves unevenly. So for a lot of years, we would work with Goody, and we would just voluntarily trim her feet. So she would cooperate with us, and it's the same method as trimming a horse's feet, and we would use that to correct the way her feet looked and correct the way she would walk. And that for a long time was enough for us to keep her really comfortable, keep her exercising, keep her with her family. As she's aged, though, we've found that, like a lot of people that are older, arthritis started to set in. And she actually injured a joint that we call the fetlock joint, and it would almost be, if you think of rolling your ankle, is what she did essentially. She was stiff, she was walking, and she rolled that ankle. And we were able to do a lot of work with Goody. You know, the animals at the zoo cooperate with us in their care. So we work with them. We teach them about the things we want to do. So in Goody's case, we wanted to do radiographs to start as a way of investigating her care. Rachel actually works a lot with training giraffes. If you want to jump in and explain a little bit about what it's like to train a giraffe to work with you on radiographs.
Yeah, so basically an animal, you can't make it do anything. They don't really know English. They know what you teach them, and you can't force an animal to do anything, just like you can't force anyone to do anything. So when we train an animal, we do what's called positive reinforcement. So they basically figure out what you want. You can ask for it, and then you give them a reward saying, good job, yes, that's exactly what I wanted. And giraffes, even though they're very tall, they're actually a very flighty animal, so a lot of things spook them and tend to make them want to stay away and maybe not participate. So for radiographs, there's a big yellow box, which is big and scary. There's a big flat plate, which is big and scary. So you basically just have to take lots of little incremental steps to basically teach them that, yes, this machine needs to be near you. Yes, this plate needs to be where we can get the proper picture. And Goody is so great. She knows exactly where she needs to go. We basically say, Goody, can you come here? We're going to put this next to you now. We'll give you tons of treats. And we've been able to get lots of great photos to see how the fetlock has improved over time and how things might not be working how we need to, how we might need to readjust. And it's been really great having her so cooperative and willing to work with us to help her get as great as she can be.
It's a very similar process. We use it for everything that we do with Goody. So like Rachel said, it's a prey animal and she's a wild animal, so we don't ever want to overstep our bounds. So we work a lot on relationship building with her. Goody, over time, I've been with her for about 10 years now. She's actually maid of honor at my wedding. So that trust that you build with an animal is what lets us do the kind of things that we do with her that are so unique. So we've trained her for things like radiographs to help us monitor her care. She receives acupuncture. She gets massage, ultrasound therapy. There's a lot of things that we can do for her that make her comfortable and help keep her in good shape so that she can do the things she wants to do. A giraffe's a herd animal. She wants to be outside. She wants to be, her sister lives in our group. She loves being with her sister. That's her best friend. And that's been a great way actually for us to monitor how we think she's doing. She can't tell us how she feels, but we can tell by her behavior. And if she's able to stay with her sister and do the kind of same activities that her sister Sky would want to do, that's a great measure for us to tell that she's feeling really good. We had a period of time where we were seeing that she would want to stay indoors and just sit and take naps. Giraffes are actually one of the shortest sleeping mammals for land mammals. They sit and rest for only really short periods of time. That's when they're vulnerable to predators. So if we're seeing this giraffe that wants to come and wants to sit, that's not really normal behavior. We needed to get her activity budget back to representing what we would want to see from a healthy, happy giraffe. So one of the things we were able to do is we found a way to give her a support shoe. Talked about, her injury to her ankle, essentially, where she had rolled out to the side. So inside of her shoe, this is actually something that we worked with a farrier to come up with a design of something that we could put on her hoof, almost like a horseshoe. But this wall here, it keeps her from being able to roll her foot out. So it was a really simple and convenient way for us to give her the kind of support she needed to keep that leg upright. But the thing that we then ran into is we were trying to trim her hooves, we're trying to do all these different corrective therapies. If we were just nailing horseshoes on like you did with a horse, or if we were doing things like traditional epoxy gluing methods, we couldn't change these plates out frequently, and it wasn't allowing us to really inspect her hooves as often as we wanted. It wasn't allowing us to trim as frequently as we needed to make sure we were keeping her foot in good condition. So that's when we started looking at kind of these alternative methods. Unfortunately, there is no Foot Locker or Stride Rite to go to and buy a giraffe shoe. And the people that we called that worked with horses were just a little bit flabbergasted at the request. I think a lot of times when someone answers the phone and I say, I need a shoe for a giraffe, they probably think it's maybe a prank phone call. But we were able to find, these are really great, actually, they're stretchy. So we can accommodate putting her, she had to learn to help put her shoes on. Like Rachel said, there's not a lot we can do to force a giraffe into anything, and we wouldn't want to. We want her to voluntarily do this. So these open up nice and wide, and she has been trained, Rachel works with her a lot on this, and you just put her shoe out, and she hooks her little foot right in there for her, and you buckle her up like she's heading off to her first day at kindergarten. It's really cute to be able to do her little shoes up for her. But she is a large animal, and she is very tough on her shoes. Again, think of it like a kindergartner heading off to school. You buy the new school shoes, and then they're ruined on the first afternoon at the playground. So Goody is very, very tough on her shoes. So we end up going through quite a few of them. How many do you think we go through in a month? It's
at least 3 or 4 probably.
She's
3 or 4 months.
Yeah, she's heavy. She can wear out the soles, but it's been a really fantastic development for us because the metal plate that she needs for support isn't being attached to her. So we can take off a shoe, we can clean them out, we can switch them up if she needs a slightly different fit. We're able to check her feet every day. If we want to do a new radiograph to look at the bone alignment, that's a really important thing for us as we trim her feet or as we put on these support braces and shoes. We're always consulting with our veterinarians. We're very lucky to be affiliated with UC Davis, so we have a huge team to support us and get all of their expertise in looking at this kind of more scientific evidence to then line up against the things that we're seeing, her activity, her attitude, and then we're able to use the shoe, keep her comfortable with a much less invasive method of correcting her leg and her posture.
Yeah, are the shoes locally made, and about how much are they per shoe?
So we're purchasing commercial shoes. If we could find somebody, we used to try to work with various people, but like I said, it's a big job, as you can imagine, to physically make a shoe for a giraffe. So we're able to order these, and the nice thing is the company that sends them, we get them really, really quickly, but I want to say we spend about $45 a shoe, and we go through a pretty big supply of them. The plates, we're very lucky. Our in-house facilities team can pretty much pull a rabbit out of a hat, so they're able to craft a lot of things for us. But
and then you also have the treats. I mean, you have to
Yes.
fund the treats.
That's Rachel can tell you what's Goody's favorite thing to eat.
Goody's favorite thing to eat is what we call browse, which is a fancy word for tree trimmings. She really likes acacia, but all of our giraffes equally enjoy it, but that's what she likes the most for when we do all this stuff. And she's very cooperative if we've got some nice acacia treats for her to munch on while we change out her shoe.
Okay, yes, shoes and treats. What else do you have that you
We have a
use?
couple. One of the things we do most frequently, a lot of the therapies that we use for Goody, like I said, being lucky to be affiliated with UC Davis, is they have a wonderful equine program, and they're able to guide us on things that work for sport horses. So we have one thing here is
Ice brace.
grab that for me, thank you. It's a big ice brace, and you can actually
She had that on this morning, actually.
you feel inside of there. It's still nice
yes,
and
and
cold.
nice and cool.
And it's been out of the freezer for, so these are designed for sport horses, and this covers the lower part of her leg, goes over that joint where she's got the injury.
So
and
that's for inflammation control?
Yeah, so we're doing icing just like you would ice an injury, and she can wear these, and they're perfectly safe with the nice soft Velcro straps that we can send her out with the other giraffes, and she can wear it and get her icing therapy. If she wants to stay in the barn and wear them and she wanted to sit or something like that, they're safe and comfortable. But these have been a great tool for us to do something really simple to reduce inflammation and keep her comfortable with still being, obviously a lot of the things we have to do, we have to look at, is it safe for a wild animal? Is it safe if something else happened where she got frightened? So there's a lot of considerations that go into us adapting things that were designed for domestic animals, but this has been a great tool for us just to really cool that leg down. We used to see a lot more swelling around that joint after her injury, and now that we're looking at her, we're seeing so much of that reduced that it's made her more comfortable that she's able to walk.
Now, I understand that you actually track her movements.
That was a really exciting project. We were lucky to learn from another facility how they had adapted this small data logger in the same way that people are able to wear like the Fitbit style bands on their wrist to track their movement. And we were able to make one of these for Goody to wear, since she'd already learned how to put things on like a shoe, and she could already wear, a brace around her wrist. We could teach her to wear this bracelet that had a data logger in it, and we could use it like a Fitbit. And we were able to tell how much she's moving, how much she's sitting and standing. And then, because we know of her close relationship with her sister, by putting one on her sister, we could compare the information from the two of them, and we could see, even when we're not there, 24 hours a day, we know what she's up to, what her sister's up to, and are they able to stay together? Is that activity level matching up? And whenever we see a dip where maybe we find she's resting more in the evening when we're not there, or maybe her sister is covering more of the space they have access to and getting kind of exercise, and Goody's choosing to stay in one spot, then we know that we should be changing some of our therapies, or maybe being a little more intensive with her care to try to get her comfortable again.
Yeah. Is there any other items that the zoo would like budgeted for the next year? Something to strive for, to shoot for?
We've been looking at a lot of different products. She has done so well, and we've come so far with her care that we may, after another year and a half treating that initial injury and keeping her fully supported with the shoe, we may actually find a point where we can start backing down from the full shoe a bit. So we've begun the process now of investigating different styles of braces, or things that would give more support on the foot without this metal plate model. We're not there yet, but the improvement that we've seen has been significant enough to think that we could be hopeful that if in a point in the future we're feeling better about her stability, those are things that we're looking into. We're always looking to find other products we can use that kind of treat different parts of her condition. If you think of a person using like crutches for a long time, they can end up with maybe shoulder pain or back pain.
Right,
so
atrophy of different parts of the body
exactly,
that are not used.
that's exactly what it is.
Right,
so with
okay.
Goody going through several years of this front left leg injury, we see stiffness in the shoulders, we see some stiffness in the hips. So we're finding ways to work on those other areas, which you can imagine is a little bit hard when you think about how high up a giraffe is just reaching. We need some members of the Tall Club to come out and
there you go. There you go.
get up there and give her a massage. So we look into a lot of different projects, and we reach out to other facilities that have dealt with these things,
Sure.
and we rely on the staff at Davis to guide us. So we've looked to a lot of different modes of therapy that we could be using in the future that we could invest in to help her.
Yeah. Okay, so the zoo is constantly looking for new treatments, new things, new innovations, and sharing information from other zoos. Are there other zoos that have similar situations with any of their hoof stock?
We've actually, we worked with some staff. They used to be members of our facility, and Goody has this pretty eclectic program of kind of alternative, if you would think of it that way, in veterinary medicine, with the acupuncture and ultrasound therapy. She has cold laser therapy, pulse electromagnetic mat that was something I had never even
Oh,
heard of, and
interesting.
someone with racehorses brought it to us. And so we saw another facility actually using those things in, there was another hoofed animal, it was a type of antelope that he had similar arthritis, and they were able to use those same things, seeing that it could be safely done. And we've learned a lot, like with the Fitbits, from other zoos. So communicating with other facilities has been really helpful, and we've presented on Goody at several professional conferences to kind of get the message out that these are things you can do, and that arthritis shoes is kind of the wave of the future with.
Okay, well, very, very good. I mean, that's wonderful information, and the viewers, I just can't encourage you enough to get involved in the fundraising activity for Goody, so that Goody can continue getting the services, the shoes, the massages, the therapy, the ice packs. I wish I had it that good. But so do go to a nearby veterinary hospital and ask if they have the donation envelopes for Goody. If you would like to go to sacramentotallclub.org, there are some nice links there that we can that you can donate directly to the GoFundMe. And remember, it's a 501c3, so it's all tax deductible. And the zoo is very proud of the giraffes, and I think the Sacramento community is very, very lucky to have such a facility in Sacramento as the giraffe facility. And they redid that, about 5 years ago?
I think it's actually been almost 9 years.
9 years ago? My
It's
goodness, how time flies. Yeah, but it's a beautiful facility. You could actually get up to the almost the eye level of the giraffes when they're out, and help Goody celebrate another birthday.
Yes.
You know, in good spirits. I think it's about time to bring our moderator back up.
Thank you very much. And you are absolutely right. It's very, very interesting. But what piques my curiosity just a little bit is these two young ladies who seem to be very, very well informed on giraffes. I never knew there was so much information about giraffes as listening to this lady for the last 25 minutes talk about giraffes. Interesting animal. So let me ask you, how did you get started, and do you require any special training? How did you get involved with this activity?
I was very lucky that when I applied for my first internship many years ago, I was offered the opportunity to choose what animals I thought I would want to do my intern project with, and the first thing that shot out of my mouth was giraffe. And that was about 17 years ago, so I obviously made the right choice. But there's a lot of, it's all, you can think of it as, apprenticeship style training to learn things like the farrier work that goes into trimming their hooves, the aspects of medical care. It's a lot of training. It's a lot of schooling, but it's a lot of on-the-job training. A lot of on-the-job.
You didn't participate in any kind of specialized training? You just started an internship with
I started an internship at a zoo with keepers that were experienced. Rachel went through similar programs at several zoos, and then we work with farriers or different people with expertise, and it takes a lot of years, but it's worth it.
It's very obvious that you obviously enjoy your work, and I have a little adage about people who enjoy their work, and that is they usually do better accidentally than most people do on purpose. So I applaud you for your participation, and we thank you very much for coming to our show and sharing your information with the rest of the viewing audience. And I'm sure that they're all much better informed, and I'm sure that they will generate some interest in our community to assist you in your continued efforts to make the giraffe's life a little lighter.
Well,
thank you again for coming. And Mr. Lehman, thank you very much for bringing these people.
Oh, you're very welcome. It's my pleasure to bring attention to the Sacramento Tall Club and the zoo and their need to help Goody.